Hello, girls and boys. Welcome back to Read Me a Story. And hello as well to my grandchildren, Max and Theo and Josephine, Charlotte and Penelope and Simon. Girls and boys, I want to talk first about my book. This is a book that I wrote, so I'm the author. It's called Tips and Tidbits for Parents and Teachers. So, this is for your mums and dads to read. And they can buy it from AmazonBooks.com. It will tell them all about the things that I've learned in my 50 years of teaching in the classroom. And it will help them to help you at home with your schoolwork. All right, girls and boys, today we're going to have a story that teaches us a lesson. This lesson is about trust. We can't say one thing and then do another thing. If you promise something to a person, you have to keep your promise. It's called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Now here's our poor old wolf. And I think a lot of times books shed a bad light on wolves. But girls and boys, we really know that the more we study wolves nowadays, we know what a beautiful animal the wolf is and how much we need wolves in nature. So, unfortunately, he gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's going to help us in this story to remember an important lesson. All right, here we go. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. In a time as old as the gods themselves, there was a shepherd boy named Jason who loved dreaming of adventures and having fun. On summer mornings, he would be playing with his friends or out listening to the bard's tales of Hercules and the monsters. He also had dreams of leaving their village someday to live in a palace in Athens. Athens is in Greece. "Not while you are young," his grandfather Horatio would always say. "You've still got a lot of growing up to do." But Jason thought otherwise. "But I'm old enough," he would mutter to himself. "And besides, I'm getting sick of watching sheep and milking goats." And then he would pound his fist at the table in protest. Horatio would just look at his hard-headed grandson and whisper to himself, "How am I going to teach this boy that everything takes hard work?" One summer afternoon, Jason was out in the fields looking after their sheep. Boredom soon overtook him, so he decided to play a little prank on the first person he sees. A few moments later, a woodcutter came along. Jason then asked himself, "What trick am I going to play on this man? Should I tell him out loud that a gorgon is about to attack me? With the woodcutter a few meters away from him, Jason, with all his might, let out a terrible cry. "Wolf! Wolf out to get my sheep! Somebody help me!" And the woodcutter, swinging his axe, ran quickly to where Jason and the sheep were. "Where did the wolf go?" he bravely asked the shepherd. Jason just gave the man a funny stare and then chuckled. "What wolf?" Upon realizing he was fooled by the boy, the woodcutter left as fast as he could, his face red in anger. Jason, on the other hand, was snickering and rolling on the ground. He was laughing his heart out with his prank. The next day, Jason was out on the fields again, grazing the sheep. And lying on the grass, he dreamt of sea adventures with the Argonauts and a chance to actually reach Mount Olympus to see the gods and goddesses. He also remembered yesterday's prank, and he started to laugh again wildly. Again, he decided to play the joke, this time on his playmate, Phineas, who was passing by on his way home. "Wolf!" cried the boy, while turning to his friend. "Wolves are out to get my sheep!" "Oh, I'll go and get the village folk," said Phineas, who was white in the face as he ran past the hills to their village. Jason started laughing to himself, and at the village men who later arrived carrying their clubs and knives. Realizing the prank, the people got angry at Jason. "I left my winemaking for this," one muttered. "Oh, bother," one said, "just when I'm milking the cows." And they all left in a hurry to go back to their chores, leaving the boy who cried wolf alone with his joke. Now the next afternoon, while Jason was chuckling about his grand prank yesterday, a howl broke through the air. Jason's smile quickly disappeared from his face. "Look here." From the darkness of the woods, numerous eyes blazed. One more howl, and the wolves started running out of the trees. Like lightning, those hunters jumped upon Jason's sheep, tearing them apart one by one. In a flash, Jason scurried past the hills and into their village, and on his way he met the woodcutter from the other day. "Wolves are killing my sheep," he cried. And the woodcutter laughed him off. "Tell it to the gods. Zeus knows I've got too much wood to cut today." "But it is real this time," Jason said, but the woodcutter was well on his way into the woods. Running once more, he met Phineas playing in the meadow, and he cried the same cry. "Nice joke," Phineas said. "Sorry, but my mother said not to talk to you anymore." He tried to convince Phineas how real the wolves were, and how they were all eating his sheep that very moment. Yet his friend no longer listening to him. Mustering all his speed, he went to the village square, and he cried wolf there. People looked in his direction, and when they saw it was Jason, they shrugged, and they went about doing their jobs. That very moment, Jason knew the sheep were all going to settle nicely into the bellies of the wolves. Sure enough, when he returned to the field, nothing was left. The wolves swiped everything clean. Jason mourned terribly over the loss of his sheep. From that day forth, he learned his lesson well, not to break the people's trust, and he learned and he grew much from it. Wow, what a sad lesson to learn. And sometimes, girls and boys, when stories tell us a lesson or a moral, it's called a fable. Aesop wrote wonderful fables. And this is a classic tale as well. I hope you enjoyed this, girls and boys. See you next time for Read Me a Story. Bye for now.